very special moment. You know, I'm a very emotional guy. Okay, louder. That's what my wife said. I'm honored and humbled to be up here. My name to go next to Bob Dove's. I want to congratulate all you honorees. You earned yours through hard work and dedication. I earned mine by working for the right guy at the right place. You're at the beginning of your journey. I'm at the end of mine. I want to introduce my family. My son came up from Cincinnati with his two children, his wife, and the kids got stomach virus this morning at 4 a.m. And I don't know if it was bad Chick-fil-A or what, but they did. My son, but I want to introduce my wife, Carol, of 60 years, how she tolerated that. I mostly because I was on the road so much. But, you know, she was with me through 4 high school jobs, 2 Hall of Fames there. And then, then we were at 8 different universities. That meant 4 apartments and 8 houses. That's a lot of packing. She's just a tremendous support. My son, 5 states, 5 schools, ended up at Boardman, went to Air Force Academy, and then spent 20 years in the Marine Corps as a pilot. He now works for GE in their engine and jet engine division. His wife Dee Dee, he met in the Marines, and they were in their 30s. And believe it or not, she's a farm girl from Missouri. It's about that much taller than him. She could eat apple off his head. But and she's a farm girl from Missouri with the Bible, and changed his life. And have those two beautiful grandkids, Thomas and Hannah, who are the lights of my life. Now, I arrived here. We went and stayed at the beautiful Days Inn out in Liberty, and January 6th, I was 2 years at San Diego State. Came here. It was 18 degrees, and what a great experience. I had to get my blood thickened up. But we went the next day, we went to church down in St. Rose, and there was a priest named Father Tim O'Neill. And fortunately, I got to know him personally, and he brought Christ into my life by the way he lived. Now, we came here to build a program. We're going to build a program. Half a stadium and a PE locker room. Well, we painted the locker room floor. Coach Bowles and I painted the locker room floor. We put up a concrete wall so we could hang up our bulletin boards. And then one Wednesday, Tress said, K-Dog, you still got your CDL? I said, yeah, Coach. I wouldn't give that up being a coach. I mean, you never know when you need another job. And he said, well, we need a truck driver to take the equipment to Tennessee Tech tomorrow night after practice. Okay, Coach, whatever it takes. I found out where Cracker Barrels were. Can't park a semi at some of them. But we took the equipment down, and that was our first win. That was a big win. Those kids, they were tough, hard-nosed kids. They just kept hanging in there and dedicated. Those seniors, they put their teeth in you. They're not going to let up. Well, we painted the floor, bulletin board and all that. You know, we did that. But the one thing we did was recruit. Now that dog can recruit. He'll recruit you. Better hold on to your wallet. But he can recruit. And there were 6 of us. And the Ever-Ready Bunny wore us all out. I mean, lists and calls, and I mean, it was ever-ending. And then the Ever-Ready Bunny. A great story is he was on his way to Chicago about 11 o'clock at night, and the car broke down. It was about a 1983 French Peugeot or something, and it was about below, it was in the teens, and they sat there for an hour. When I was a 300-pound defensive line coach. Well, second hour, they were holding each other, trying to stay warm. And finally, a state trooper found him in the side of the road and got him somewhere to get warm. But I can still see him with Mike Davis. Oh, my God. But, okay, when we came here, this is what we got. This is what it brought us. Thanks to that guy. Now, we were 3-8 a couple times. That ain't no walk in the park. And then we were 8-3 a couple times, and we didn't make the playoffs. We went to the thing where the big screen and they're announcing the teams. I watched grown men cry. Grown men on a stage crying and hugging each other because we didn't make the playoffs. Well, now, the first thing, take a page out of Coach Tressel's book, number one are the players. If you work for him, you better understand, don't talk about them in a negative way. They're the ones we got. They're the ones we're going to coach, and you better be positive. And he used to say before a game, never gave a pregame comment in his life. That's why I had to step in a little bit. But he said, I'm only one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. What I can do and ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. And he said that every game. When he's carried those players up, they weren't going to hear Newt Rockney. That's what he said, right from the heart. Now, when I came here, the players that I recruited that stayed 4 years or 5 got a good grade. That's for 15 years. Now, 11 of them became All-Americans. Guys came in as partial or walk-ons, willing to pay the price. They became All-Americans. I can tell you Ronnie Brown got a third of a scholarship. Jake Andrew Anderson is in the Hall of Fame. He got a 6th from track and a 6th from football. And he ends up being in the Hall of Fame. Now, we had 4 NFL players. A couple of them are here today, Paul and Timmy. And Timmy blocked a punt in the NFL championship game for a touchdown. Now, players leave here. In 15 years, this program, this coach produced 6 doctors. 6 doctors. Engineers, teachers, policemen, firemen. They all carry his torch. Reggie Lee, great linebacker here, Principal of the Year in the United States, down in Florida. Principal of the Year. Can you imagine that? But that was it. Now, the next thing in your program is your staff. And if he hired you, it meant he really thought you could do the job. Not as a football, but you cared about the players, that you thought the players were important. Those that are here today, you know, that showed up, I thank you for coming. I appreciate it. There's a couple guys I want to recognize. Sam Eddy. Sam Eddy, with my wife's coaching me. Sam Eddy is met him in '78, and he was assistant coach, NCAA coach of the year. That's pretty profound. The other guy is Bob Stoops, finest football coach I've ever been with. We had a couple fist fights, but I still. But he's just a tremendous coach. He had three defensive linemen that were All-Americans here. We don't get 5-star recruits. 3 All-Americans, and they all went in the NFL. And I think what happened is his wife Joanne fed those gorillas, 8 of them, every Thursday night during the season. And I think that, Coach, I think that's an NCAA violation. I think we should report Joanne. I think she should go up before the board. But now, these things are not in the coach's manual. 3 a.m. one night, I was taking a young guy to East Liverpool on a pretense that his grandmother was sick. I pulled off the ramp to his house and I pulled over and I said, "Your mother's been murdered." Whew. That's not the coach's manual. That's not the coach's manual. Another time I took a young guy's mom and dad to the house where he had been caught in a murder situation, unbelievable bad situation. Wonderful human, never had a drink in his life, but as we pulled up in the van, because they were going to load up his personal belongings, the dad looked down at the ground and there was a brown spot with candles around it. And he got down on his knees and he said, "This is where my son died." Whew, that's not in the coach's manual. You know, we were at the hotel after the memorial service, and it was going to be a tough dinner. It was going to be tough. The staff was going to host them. Ed O'Neill, the famous actor, YSU football player, graduate, he was in the lobby. He was going to go to dinner with his friends. Coach Stress was telling him the situation. He said, maybe if I came in there, I could help you guys out. Coach, that saved the night. He took the time. And those people knew him like, oh my God, this is the real guy from family. I mean, he's the guy. It was really something. Now, YS community is the people, boosters are here that I've known since the day we were here. This community had a love affair with this football team. When we were at the hotel, we didn't stay at a hotel the night before games during the season, only when the NCAA picked up the bill. We got on those buses, state trooper, county police, city police, sirens. When you turn that corner and start down, you're going to play Air McNair on national TV on a Friday after Thanksgiving. Thousands of people coming out and pounding on those buses. I mean, there was no way we were going to walk off that field, even though he was 13-0. So, well, on this campus, our players had people that took care of them and loved them and knew them by name. Eva over at the bookstore, Donna in travel, Marilyn at the bank. They felt like this was home. They made them feel at home. Now, the people cared. They really did. And they knew they were home. Now, the best part in this community were people like Joe Popoff, owned a little paint store, elderly guy, but he would take the Cali boys. 3 guys I recruited, one every other year. And they would stay at his house on the weekends. And when their families came in for a game, they didn't stay at a hotel. They stayed at Joe's house. That's better than any hotel. They got treated like family. Pretty special. Joe Corolla, businessman here, trucker, takes in our guys, teaches them the business. Hey, they care. Now, I'll end this up a little bit, but what showed about this town, I was at the UPS with Jermaine's 3 big boxes to ship back to Florida. The guy in front of me says, "Is that the kid's stuff?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "My wife's a YSU grade. I'm a Kent grade." I said, "That's your problem." And so I went up and handed him the credit card, $420. The lady said, he put it on his bill. Even though he's a Kent grade, he put it on his bill. Each Liverpool kid's mother died, funeral paid for, no charge, paid for. That's what this community was about. Well, been 36 years in this town. I never lived anywhere in my life for more than 5 years. We were transient whites out of the hills of Tennessee, and I never lived anywhere for more than 5 years. And when I came here, I thought we were going to be here, but after I'm talking about the things that have happened while I'm here and the people I've been around and this community and the support, the last thing I'll mention to you is A year ago, my wife, Carol, came down with cancer, had 2 major operations at the Cleveland Clinic. The support from the people on this campus was incredible. Flowers, cards, food, Patty Cassisa's famous chicken soup, Eva's pork tenderloin. I mean, the love that you showed her and me, those 36 years paid off. And, well, I didn't break the podium. I didn't break the chair. I try to show you the love that's in my heart and how much this community and this university and the players meant to me. And the best part is you don't have to listen to me anymore. But before Ronnie, you come up here, before you come up, I got Tim Johnson. Come on up here. Come on. I'm going to hear it one last time. That fight song. Now, I recruited him out of Alabama where his mother's a preacher. I went to go to church to prove how much I wanted him, and he can really sing. He's just a very average player, but boy. He's gonna go through it one time in his beautiful a cappella voice, and then Doug and Tress are gonna go up here and finish it off. Here we go.
All right. First time.
Oh, here we go.
Second time, I want you guys to join me. You all to join me, and then the third time we'll get it perfect. All right.
No, 2 times.
I'm one. I'm only one. I can't do everything, but I can do something, and that I can do, I ought to do, and what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. The red and white outweigh me over the field. Our boys are fighting with the spirit and the will. Now you run. Hail to thee, O Youngstown. We'll fight for you. Once again, the Penguins will win for YSU.
Okay.
Tress. This time, we'll say teams.
Tress. Come on up. Dougie. He needs a prop.
That's the speed. We used to sing it so fast because you couldn't get out of the locker room fast enough away from these guys. Not only that, we won 21 games, won 21 and 6 in 2 seasons. My 2 seasons.
You get up here.
All right? Again, this time we'll say team. And the reason why I'm saying I am only one, because nowadays you go, the red, but no, it was coming out the win. I'm one. I'm only one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. The red and white always me over the field. Our boys are fighting, but the spirit will not yield. Rah. Hail to the Youngstown. We'll fight for you. Once again, the Penguins will win for YSU.
Players and coaches, stand up. Here we go. I want to hear it one last time.
No dragons fast like the winning teams we do. I am one. I'm only one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. The red and white are with me over the field.